Well, it has been a harvest of fortunes for President Bola Tinubu and his All Progressives Congress party as they continue to receive clearly disgruntled members of other political parties. The most high profile of such defections thus far is Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborowori. Other serving and former state chief executives are also lining up to defect. Some political commentators have described what's happening as bowing the knee and kissing the ring, a barely concealed suggestion that President Tinubu and his party are wielding undue political and economic advantages to force the process. But this remains mere allegation. However, to help us get some understanding of the thinking in the ruling party, we are now being joined by Biodun Ajiboye, a member of All Progressives Congress and the Director General, National Institute for Cultural Orientation. Good morning, Director General Biodun Ajiboye. Good to have you join us this beautiful Sunday on the morning show. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, my brother Steve.
Good morning.
The position created by National Institute for Cultural Orientation is actually Executive Secretary / CEO, not Director General.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the clarification. Executive Director and CEO of National Institute.
Executive Secretary.
Executive Secretary. Thank you. All right, but we'll talk more about politics today and not necessarily about the Institute for Cultural Orientation, where I believe that you are doing, marvelously well, actually. Let's talk about what everybody is what is in the air, really, which is about defections. Big wigs are coming in, more are expected to come, and then the fear that APC, your party, might be stylishly leading the country into a one-party situation. My questions will be that why is APC desperate, apparently, to welcome with song and dance those who were obviously not part of the fold, those who worked against President Bola Tinubu during the 2023 elections, but who are now saying, we think that we belong here. You are now welcoming them with song and dance on the one hand, and then people say that at what point will the party be satisfied? They say that Akwa Ibom is coming, many states are being mentioned. What is the goal? What is the point? Is it about 2027 or you just want to take over the entire country? Talk to us.
When a man builds a house that is so beautiful that every landlord in the neighborhood says, no. Where I currently live is is not conducive again. Let me come and perch in your house. You don't close your door. Or like a big church that people are saying, I've seen glory in your church. Let me come and be a member of your church. You don't shut your door to them. The truth of the matter is that we have a captain who is steering the ship of fortune of Nigeria today like never before. We have a leader in Nigeria, President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who says, no, we can't handle governance and public administration like business as usual. Let us go back to the fundamentals and see where we've gotten it all wrong, try to correct it. In the bid to correct it, it will come with a lot of pain, but please bear this pain for a while. The result will show. The result is already showing, and everybody is beginning to see that this is an administrator par excellence who knows exactly where the shoe is hurting the Nigerian people and is making great effort to ensure that reforms are being put in place to solve the problem of the Nigerian people, on one hand. On the other hand, those who never wished Nigeria well are crying and shouting, you are turning Nigeria into a one-party state. You are doing this, you are doing that. No way. Nigeria, for the first time, is just getting it right. And I said here 2 years ago that when and if Bola Ahmed Tinubu becomes president, you will see the difference. It is not about whether there is no inflation. It's not about whether people are not people are not suffering. No, it's about the fact that my country people bear this pain for a while and see sunshine at the end of the tunnel. That's exactly the situation that we are. So we need to pay little attention to those people who never wished Nigeria well, ab initio, and they found themselves in opposition parties such as Atiku in PDP and Obi in LP, who will always hack down on every good thing the government is doing. So we really need to ignore them so that we can move forward and lead Nigeria to the destination it really deserves to be.
All right, Biodun, so you are not worried about Nigeria moving to a one-party state. That's what you're saying. I know that political stakeholders have warned about this possible emergence of this one-party state scenario. Now, your national chairman of APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, has said that there is absolutely nothing wrong with this one-party state. But we've seen multiple attacks from members of the APC on Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, the latest being from Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who advised Peter Obi to first put the Labour Party in order before thinking of running for president or, tackling Boko Haram. Now, do you believe these attacks signal the fear of a strong opposition? And what role do you see the opposition currently playing in Nigeria's political climate at this point? I would like for you to assess these attacks and why you think that Nigeria is not moving towards a one-party state despite these mass defections that we have seen so far.
In the first instance, I do not believe that Nigeria is moving towards a one-party state. These are expressions of fear. These are expressions of panic by people who can match up with the pace that APC is going. If Nigeria ever drifts into a one-party state, then blame them for not being able to provide credible opposition. Because I can't understand that we are doing things so well and people are saying, no, this is where we should be. If they have put their house in order, especially Labour Party, a party that is in its embryonic status and is even self-destroying itself before it becomes, a living entity. You understand? Peter Obi can cry from the south of Nigeria to the north of Nigeria. He can wear Hausa cap or Fulani cap or go into the mosque. It does not change the fact that he doesn't have what it takes to lead the Nigerian people, on one hand. On the other hand, the PDP has definitely destroyed itself. They can't provide credible opposition. So the ball should go back in their court to learn how opposition works. APC was in opposition for many years during the PDP time. We never gave up. We continue to give Nigerian people the right alternative, different from the policies PDP was putting on the table at the time. That is what the credible opposition they are expected to provide, not the pettiness they get themselves involved in. Every statement made by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Atiku comes out and say, if you believe in in the Nigerian product, sell your Rolls Royce, sell your Maybach, that's not what opposition is all about. Opposition is not all about aggressing the person of the president. Opposition is about holistic view of the policy, state policy, and dissecting the policy, analyzing the policy, and seeing how the policy pays the Nigerian people or otherwise. That's what they call credible opposition. But we are faced with a problem, with a situation whereby the people who are supposed to offer opposition do not even understand exactly what to do. Therefore, their followers are seeing lack of credible leadership. And they are saying, if I'm going to be led by these personalities who do not know their left from their right, then the future is bleak. And they are moving to a party that provides proper leadership, credible leadership, a leadership that is willing and ready to build Nigeria and make Nigeria cynosure of all eyes in the world. So why are you blaming APC? Why is anybody trying to blame APC for doing well?
But how is advising the administration to lead by example an attack on the administration. How is that an attack? Isn't that what the administration is supposed to focus on? They've come up with this beautiful blueprint of the Nigeria First policy, which I applaud. And, the strong opposition is telling the administration, lead by example, sell off your Rolls Royce, your Escalade, apparently I think that's what the president writes, and prioritize or patronize Nigerian-made brands. How is that an attack?
Okay, let me explain to you. Maybe Atiku doesn't have enough education to understand that state policies are not about personalities. Policies are formulated for the generality, holistic view of the situation, circumstance, people, past, immediate, and future. Therefore, it is not about whether I wear a made in Italy t-shirt or it's about the Nigerian nation. So coming in that direction as opposition waters down what they call opposition, from position of principle to position of pettiness. So who is interested in such petty attack? It's not even an attack, it's just a watery expression.
I find it interesting that you keep talking about pettiness, because I then ask myself, what is politics without a bit of pettiness, as we've seen in our national scheme? Now, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, did say poverty is not a crime. So I find it quite interesting that you defend personal attires and personal effects with such vehemence to say that, it doesn't matter. I mean, the point I'm trying to say is someone in your party, the Senate President, did say that these things are not a big deal. Poverty is not a crime. He said that to all Nigerians, and I believe it should be relatable to all. But let's move on now. Let's talk about a more grand issue, the ease of party hopping in Nigeria across all lines. Do you think this reflects a deeper problem, an undertone where it's more about propaganda and personal interest as opposed to what is necessary to the people? What is the most important thing, which is democracy, government for the people? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, unfortunately, my sister, I hardly heard anything you said. I struggled. So please, if you can paraphrase.
Okay,
so
let me say it again.
And answer.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. So I started off.
Yes, I can.
Thank you. I started off by saying that what is politics in Nigeria without a little pettiness? You would agree that pettiness is usually the order of the day as it pertains to our political system. That was the first thing I said. The second thing I said was in relation to your defense of the personal effects of our political leaders, to remind you that the Senate President did say that poverty is not a crime. So there's really nothing wrong with driving a lesser car or driving a car that's not as extravagant, in line with some of those criticisms that you have addressed. Third, I then asked you a question, and that question is, what are your thoughts on party hopping, the ease of party hopping in Nigeria? To say that, is it about the leaders? Is it about these political figures, or is it about the people? I hope it is clear and you were able to hear me clearly.
Well, I got the first two very well, but I didn't get the last one. But by the time I finished answering the first two, you might have been fully satisfied. Now, let me start by saying that pettiness and politics. Yes, politics have different categories. When an administration is on the saddle, it is no longer politics as usual. It is, business of administration. How do you administer? How do you execute, some of you, the programs you promised to execute while campaigning? You understand? We're not now at the stage of politics per se. We're now at the stage of, okay, how do we make life better for the Nigerian people? And the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, my leader, had come to say, okay, for Nigeria to be better, it's not a question of placating or plastering or putting powder on the problem, on the sore. It is about proper surgery, going back to the fundamentals by offering reforms in different categories, tax reform, all sorts of reforms to ensure that we cannot, or we are not, Nigeria will not spend the next 10 years in the circumstance we have been coming before. What is the circumstance? Every leader comes to play to play on words. They are afraid. All the leaders in the past were afraid of what is going to happen to my next election. To that extent, they are scared to face the reality of our problems, the way Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had faced it frontally. And that is the hallmark of a leader. So that's on one part. So pettiness, pettiness is only allowed or tolerated during campaigns everywhere where you throw jabs, you do all of that kind of thing. At this point in time, both opposition and the ruling party should be very, very serious and determined to ensure that Nigeria is better. So while the ruling party is rolling out policies, the opposition parties are supposed to be studying these policies and, remove the potholes, remove the pitfalls in this policy and expose and say, look, this policy you have come up with, this is the disadvantage. This is how it's going to affect the people. And trust our leader. It listens. When he sees that something is not done right, he goes back to the drawing board and he corrects it. That's the kind of listening leader that we have got in Nigeria. Now, talking about the Senate president making an assertion, to the fact that poverty is not a crime, I will not evaluate his expression at this point. I need to know the circumstances that led to such a statement. That is the only time I can make a valid and very intelligent assessment of the statement. But looking at the statement from this face value, exactly, poverty is not a crime. I mean, I am from a very poor home, and I know that perhaps my parents didn't like poverty, but they found themselves in poverty. So poverty is not a crime. For every child that is poor today has a responsibility to strive to be good, to be great tomorrow. So, I mean, I can say that much about the Senate President's statement, since I do not know the background to that statement. Now, number 3, talking about the vehicle the President rides. Is it his personal vehicle or the vehicle that belongs to the state of Nigeria? If it's the vehicle that belongs to the state of Nigeria, I do not know exactly what you expect me to say. But if you go to his garage in Bodilon and you found Rolls Royce and all of those kind of cars, then you can make a statement and say, Oga, why don't you sell these cars in the spirit of that Nigerian product that we are talking about? That will be valid. But as to the Nigerian state is a nation among nations competing and, needs to be seen as a nation among other nations. So it's not really a question of whether he made a policy to say, think Nigeria and is riding escalator. Those are not the important issue. The important issue is, there's a policy that can help the Nigerian people to get better.
Mr. Biodun.
There's a policy that can help our economy to reflate.
Mr. Biodun, okay, thank you.
Ma'am.
So you did respond, but that was not actually what I wanted to ask you. If you can hear me now, I actually asked about why is it so easy to switch political parties in Nigeria? That's the long and short of the question. Prioritizing pragmatism
to switch political parties.
Yes, as opposed to ideology. Why is it so easy? What's your thoughts on it? Why is it so easy for political leaders to just shift from one party to the other? That's what I asked.
I have an answer for you. Go and ask Peter Obi that had moved from APGA to PDP to Labour. Ask him. Go and ask Atiku that had moved from PDP to ACN to back to PDP. You cannot ask Asiwaju that has remained in AD, AC, ACN, APC forever. You can't ask him because he has not changed party. He has not switched political party. So the question is not meant for us. I mean, like myself, I've said it times without number on this program, I play politics of loyalty. My loyalty before then and now, and probably in future, is to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If he had sunk in the last election, I would have sunk with him and moved home. That's me, and that's my personal principle as a human being. But as to why people switch parties, they are following the footsteps of their leaders. The unstable Obi, the Atiku, they are following their footsteps. APC is a formidable party. That's why people are coming. APC had planned to govern Nigeria properly for upward of 16 to 19 years. We've been putting strategies on the table every day, every night. We've been strategizing. If Ashwaju eventually becomes president, how do we run? And we're running it exactly the way we plan to run it. You must be a listening president. If you do something wrong and people complain, please go back to the drawing board and change. Everything you do must not be as a result of panic of a second term. You must face the problem headlong. And that is exactly what we're doing. If we refuse to fix Nigeria, Nigeria will fix us. And while Nigeria fixes us, we are not going to be happy about it. So let us take whatever it takes to fix Nigeria the proper way.
All right. I like the energy that you're bringing to this discourse, very vibrant. But then a lot of people might disagree with you in many aspects. Let me cue behind some of the questions that Kachi raised earlier, to which you responded that it's about policies. And my question, therefore, will be, will there be a policy that will encourage the president and the people who work with him, like your good self, to drive cars that are assembled in Nigeria? I know that you wear Nigerian, you eat Nigerian, you speak Nigerian outside of English, that is the official language. But I doubt if anybody in Abuja, within the corridors of power, drives any made or assembled in Nigerian cars. Wouldn't that be a way to show example that rather than import all the beautiful other brands that we see that the president and you guys drive, wouldn't be a way to show that we believe in the cause of this country, and therefore every feature, all the total options that are in an Escalade or the other brands, we can get Innocent, to put them in the car, and the other ones that are assembled in Nigeria. Wouldn't that be a thing to do? And then secondly, to draw you back to the gale of defections, with which we started this interview. The PDP has said that they will be going to court to challenge some of these defections. Yesterday, we had with us Dr. Chimannaji, brilliant lawyer who once ran to be governor of Enugu State. And he drew our attention to Section 68(1)G of the Electoral Act and what it says about what can lead to you defecting. If all these cases go to court and they are well tested under the law, do you think that you still be singing and dancing, jollophing and pepper souping, as Dr. Abati will say, over Delta State Governor and his entire cabinet, etc., coming to the party? Do you think that you will be able to go the whole hog when the legal fireworks start? And then, more importantly, what is the value of all these defections? One, APC members are complaining that from Delta, for example, it simply means that many APC members who stood by the party will not have the opportunity to contest in 2027 because they may have a right of first refusal. And then what is the value again, I ask? The governor that you are accepting into your camp didn't deliver Delta State for his own presidential candidate in 2023. The likelihood of him delivering Delta State for APC in 2023 is simply slim. And therefore, people are saying that the election will not be won by who's the governor of a state, but by who people believe in. Don't you think that the likelihood of 2023 repeating itself in 2027, as far as presidential election is concerned, is very high?
Steve, I hope I'll be able to answer all the questions.
Yes.
But I will do my best. First of all, talking about assemblage of cars in Nigeria and people in power in Abuja driving Nigerian-made cars. The responsibility of government is to create an enabling environment, create a policy that will make the Nigerian economic landscape boom to the extent that the cars are made here assembled here, and the pricing is a lot better. That's an economic, activity or theory or equation. If that happens, the people will naturally purchase Nigerian-made cars. The more the people purchase the Nigerian-made cars, the better the assembly plant gets to make it better and more competitive. However, the first step to take by government is to say there will be a policy to patronize Nigerian-made goods, to which extent tariffs and import duties on imported goods will go so high that it will discourage people from patronizing those imported goods. Those are methodical ways of going about it. It is not by fiat. There must be economic freedom. It's not by fiat to say you must do this, you must do that. Although some political encouragement can come into it by saying if you patronize Nigerian-made car, you get recognized, you get some, motivation or encouragement. Those are very good things to happen. But it is not likely to happen in a democratic setting like this by some kind of fiat. Right. Now, you said that someone said some people will go to court to challenge defections, quoting some section 68(1)(g) of certain provisions of electoral law and all of that. The political party you belong is as a result of your mind, not any legality. Which legality can force me to be in PDP if I do not want to be in PDP? If you say I should be in PDP at all costs, I say, yes, I agree, but I work for APC underground. What do you do about that? So that is neither here nor there. I don't even see that as an intelligent option to discuss, really, between you and I. But I've said it.
No, but
you choose a political party of your own free will.
Sir? Yes, you choose a political party of your own free will. Yes, I'm answering you. You choose a political party of your own free will, but once you are elected on that platform, through that party, the laws are clear as to what can make you defect without running foul of the law. That was what Dr. Chimanaji was explaining.
Oh, yes. Okay, I get it now, Steve. I get it now. Even at that, let us test the law. Let them start. By the time they get to Supreme Court, while the case is still being decided, the elections would have held and come and gone. So I don't have a problem. Let the lawyers, let the people that are talking the law, let them go and test the defections by law. I have no problem with that. I'm a politician. My interest is to convince you to join APC. I am not interested in whether somebody will take you to court for joining APC. If they do take you to court, then be APC in the mind and be their political party in your outer look. There's no crime in that. That's not a problem. Thirdly, there's
what is the value?
You said that some people that had
the value of the defectors.
Go ahead, please.
I said, what's the value of the defectors?
Exactly, that's the point.
Yes. Go on.
Politics is a game of numbers. Politics is a game of perception. Today, the perception is created that APC is the best political party in Africa. That is why there's an exodus to APC. If we are not doing something right, all the governors will not be willing to join APC.
Okay.
So those that are crying foul cannot compete. Okay. It's the truth. The PDP had 21 states at some point or 26 states at one point. They lost it to 15. That shows that they cannot hold their victory. We are holding our victory right. And that's why the world is gravitating towards the APC.
All right.
Can't you see that? So there's really no issue about. Yes, thank you.
All right, Biodu, I mean, you're well within your rights to, praise the APC, but, critics have said there's been a lot of propaganda, peddled through the APC and the Tinubu administration. There's been a pushback on this current report by the IMF indicating that the Tinubu administration have cleared Nigeria's debt with the IMF. However, the IMF reports indicate that Nigeria still has, a repayment plan on interest and charges till about 2045. Those are the sort of propaganda that, Nigerians are trying to come to terms with. But however we look at it, The debt, clearing of the IMF debt is still a great achievement towards the Tinubu administration's financial strategy and economic reform. Having said that, the country is still facing economic challenges. Are you optimistic that this administration is balancing these economic reforms with the need to elevate hardship for, ordinary Nigerians? There's still the issue of, significant challenge in security. And then finally, May 29th, just a couple of weeks from now, the Tinubu administration will mark 2 years in office. What would you say is the greatest achievement so far? Briefly.
Can I tell you honestly?
Yes.
The worth of a leader is in his understanding of the problem. Now, a leader who does not understand the problem cannot even attempt to solve the problem. Now, I have been in Nigeria, I've been born here upwards 60 years above. I've seen leaders and leaders and leaders. I've seen those who could not even read ordinary memo. I've seen those who do not even pay attention to details. Now, the problem of Nigeria could only be solved by understanding the problem and attempting to go to the root cause of the problem, which is what the current president is doing. And without that, without such surgical operation, we can't get out of the woods. Our problem was compounded by military incursion, and everything was just done the way they liked. Unfortunately, these military people kept coming back as presidents. And, well, So what I'm saying is our greatest achievement as a political party or as followers or as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the fact that he understands that without removing a dirty environment, you are likely going to keep having these ringworms and all these, waterborne diseases. So let's first of all clean the environment. When we clean the environment, there will be no diseases. We spend less money on hospitals. That's just an analogy. And I think that it is just, look, between you and I, Nigerians don't pay tax. Between you and I, Nigerians evade electricity bills.
Maybe you do.
Between you and I, Nigeria doesn't even comply with road laws and all of that, which means that we have a basic problem in Nigeria. We need to be made to pay tax. Without paying tax, nothing can happen. Mm-hmm. Two, let me go back to issue of subsidy briefly. Mm-hmm. That subsidy you are seeing is a major cankerworm in our development as a people. Mm. How? They are subsidizing fuel, subsidizing electricity, subsidizing education, subsidizing almost everything. At what point will Nigeria pay for what they consume? All right. Secondly, the rich people in Nigeria that are meant to be paying heavy taxes, they don't even pay taxes at all.
Hold on 1 second. Just to remind you very quickly that one of the things that the president said is that if he's unable to provide electricity for Nigerians, he shouldn't be re-elected. I think that's one of the key things that people will be looking at while you are marking is 2 years in office, right, and then we are gravitating towards election year. But wrap up on your thoughts, but be reminded
if
that people will know.
If Ashwaju said that, then he means it. That's a man who doesn't sleep. He thinks deeply. If he said it, then we are going to work towards it, and Nigeria will have electricity. That's about that. But I want to tell Nigerians that
very quickly,
the pain we currently feel, the pain we currently experience is naturally going to come if we expect a better future. That this president understands that a better future for our children is not negotiable. Is the reason why we're going through these reforms and why we're going through these pains. So I appeal to all Nigerians to kindly bear this pain for a short while more, then good times will come. Joy is coming to the Nigerian people.
Joy is coming. All right. Biodu Ajiboye, Executive Secretary and CEO, National Institute for Cultural Orientation, and a staunch member of the All Progressives Congress. We want to thank you for defending your cause. Nigerians are listening. Thank you so much for joining us.